r/AskReddit. Dear editors, what are some of your I'm never doing that again moments? I was about 30 and it was St. Patrick's Day. I was watching the Six Nations rugby, Ireland v England, at an Irish pub in the UK. There was a bottle of holy water with a picture of the Virgin Mary on the front. That had been brought back from Ireland. Apparently from the shrine at Knock, County Mayo. However, as became apparent, the holy water was in fact poteen, and not from a shop. If you get what I'm saying. People were sharing it around. Having a little sip. Just wet your lips was the phrase. Well, I had a couple of glasses at about 3 PM. I woke up at 6 AM the next morning on top of a garage roof. I got home around 7 AM and slept all day. Was sick every hour or two and didn't recover for 2 or 3 days. Don't drink moonshine. Ever. When I was a little kid, I stuck a finger into the cigarette lighter in my dad's car. He wasn't a smoker and I didn't know what it was for. I seared my fingerprint crispy. Snorted wasabi. I rode 8 miles on a Razor scooter wearing a fucking sombrero. The first time the sombrero blew off I was like, oh. Hahaha. My sombrero blew off. The next 499 times I just hung my head, turned around, and went back to collect my sombrero. And yes, I'm somewhat glossing over the misery of riding 8 miles on a child's kick scooter when you're a 6'1" adult. Mine usually have involved lending people money with any expectation at all that I will get it back. A decent life pro tip is never lend money to friends unless you consider it a potential gift rather than an obligation. If they can pay it back, great. But don't require that to be the case. Used a water pick to clean out a wisdom tooth extraction site just a few days after surgery. Instantly dropped to the ground and curled up into a ball. Husband walked in on that. Saw the water pick and was like, no you didn't. Drinking and driving. I did it once. It was late at night and I wanted a pack of smokes and I was drunk as fuck. I only drove across town and no one got hurt and I didn't get caught, but I knew I shouldn't be doing it, and as soon as I got back to the house I said I am definitely never doing that again aloud to myself. And I never have. Don't drink and drive, kids. And actually while I'm at it, don't smoke cigarettes either. Having a quick jerk off after cooking with chilies. Run a Spartan Beast. My son and I signed up for the Spartan Trifecta last year. To complete the trifecta you have to complete Spartan Sprint, 4 miles with obstacles, Spartan Super, 8 miles with obstacles, and a Spartan Beast, 15 miles with obstacles, in a calendar year. Sprint a fun morning activity. Super a challenging afternoon. But overall fun and only a little sore the next day. Beast hardest thing I have ever done. Broke down crying during the race. Broke down crying after the race. Covered in bruises and could barely walk the next day. Went to a Soul Cycle class to see what the hype was about. It's just a spin class that's $30 plus per class. Never again. One word. Salvia. Telling my friends who I have a crush on. They're trustworthy. I almost drank myself to death one night. I was going through a divorce. And was very, very sad. I drank an entire 3-liter bottle of rum by myself. Blacked out. Slept the rest of the night. Woke up with alcohol poisoning. Shall I mention I'm a very small woman? I weighed about 87 pounds. At the time, I was so sick. I threw up for 3 days. Had body aches. Ran a fever. Migraine. Heart palpitations. I could have died. I'm genuinely never going to do anything that stupid again. Going on the Manta roller coaster in SeaWorld in Orlando. For those that don't know, its USP at the time was that it keeps you in the prone position so you're almost flying. You clamber onto the roller coaster seat. They strap you in with an over-shoulder harness. The floor drops away. And then they tilt you forward so you're basically lying down and being held up by the harness. I adore roller coasters. But this one was not designed for busty girls. As soon we were tilted forward, it started to hurt. And then, it started moving. I can't have been strapped in quite tight enough. because every time the coaster did the loop or sharp turn I rattled in the chair and bounced back and forth just enough to bruise my entire chest. It was agony. The mid-ride photograph is just me trying to wedge my hand between the harness and my boobs to soften the blow. All the while grimacing like a fucking gargoyle. Never again. Me and my ex-boyfriend were boning in my car in a secluded public park at midnight. The cops rolled up. We both are naked and they knocked on the window. My boyfriend rolls down the window still naked and I started yelling at him to roll up the window. I got out of the car and was talking to the cop like an adult and my ex gets out of the car, dances all the way up to us and finger guns them and says, "What's Gucci, officer?" In that moment I knew I was fucked and never was gonna do that again. When I was 17 I saw a girl getting harassed by a teacher in my high school and I did or said nothing about it. Then she committed suicide after that. That teacher was abusing her sexually. I still regretting that. I could have saved a life. Drink 90% alcohol absinthe in one go because of a $20 bet. Fuck that shit. Got my foot stuck in a fireplace. I managed to get my big toe stuck in one of the small hole things and then couldn't get it out. I managed to get it out. After 10-15 minutes of restricted blood flow in my toe. Until my dad came to help me. I'll never mess with a fireplace again. Went to the local fair. Got on the zipper. Despite having previously sworn not to since when I was a teenager. I cracked my head off the top of it and got knocked out briefly during the ride. But a little kid wanted to go on and his father and stepmother couldn't. For whatever reason. Thought I would be nice. Gone on with him. Smacked my face off the side and got a bloody nose and was taken by his father to the first aid station. Literally just an open ambulance, while his stepmother distracted him. They thanked me for going on the ride with him. Though. Got on another ride later. In the process of putting my legs in place, there were 2 indents to place your legs. Both of my legs were trapped on the same side and one leg indent by the lap bar by the ride operator. Never noticed me frantically signaling him. Thrashed both knees. Could barely walk. Back to the first aid station. Make a call to get a ride home. I'd walked there. Somewhere amidst all of this managed to spend all my money on overpriced food and drink. Rigged games. And useless crap. Since then. I vowed I'd rather be mugged than go back to the fair. It'd be quicker. At least. Running in a local color run race. Cornstarch dyed with vegetable dyes. Thrown at you. Ruined my shoes. Stained my towels at home. And was on my skin despite vigorous scrubbing for over a week. Never doing that again. When I was younger I was swimming in a pool. And there was this leaf that fell into the water so I picked it up and shoved the stem of the leaf in my ear because I could. And the opportunity was there. But I'm not doing that again. Lead someone on that I knew I didn't want. I was sad. But I felt worse after hurting them. Of course. But this is how we learn. The very first time I tried marijuana was in the form of an edible. A 500mg edible. Paintballing on a stag do. 3 games over the afternoon. Shot quickly in the first game being a good guy I walked off as I was out. Second game was over in seconds. Third and final game I said sod this I stick it out to shoot my bullets. Was shot in a testicle within the first 30 seconds. Crawled out. Gave my full gun to a mate. Cinnamon challenge. I will never click on a NSFL link again. And if someone says not to Google something, I won't. It's always way worse than I imagined. Whitewater rafting after it rained for 5 days straight. I'm generally adventurous and I really resist saying I'm not tough enough to do something. So even though I have had more and more difficulty dealing with heights, I hated to admit it. I wanted to be the fearless chick who is up for anything. I decided to prove this on a drop zone amusement park ride, where they hoist the car up a tall tower and then drop it into free fall. I didn't scream. I didn't thrash. Basically, the clips released. The car started falling. And it felt like my brain spun in my head and switched off from total terror overload. My body went limp and I just hung there in frozen, helpless horror. I got off the ride. Managed to hold it together long enough to walk calmly around a corner. And then burst into tears behind a snack stand. And that's the day I learned that there are some things I can't macho my way through. No more falling base rides for me. Injecting heroin for the first time. Will never forget the headache and will never do it again. I needed to go to the toilet and there were no toilets nearby. This was in Uluru, a place in Australia. Very important to Aboriginals. Pissed on a tree near it. An Aboriginal saw and I got kicked out. Literally saw a picture of me at a gas station because apparently I had graffitied on the tree. I was refused entry at every place. I once had to change a toilet seat in my house. In order to do that I had to take off the prior toilet seat. The screws holding it in were big plastic bolts. I got one out fine but the other one didn't move much, so I tried to break it with a hammer. Long story short, I broke part of the bowl and my mom flushed the toilet, causing the bathroom to flood. She's still pissed at me to this day. Energy drinks. I used to drink them frequently like 2 years ago. Thank God I stopped. They disrupted my sleeping routine. Gave me headaches and they did cost me a lot of money. A friend of mine also drank a ton of them. Probably like 1-3 a day. He told me that his doctor said if he's gonna keep drinking them, he will probably die in less than a year. Well, it's been about 1.5 years since he stopped. And he is in pretty good shape. But man, never again will I drink one. I'm never drinking again. We have ocean kayaks which are built for riding waves. We lived on a dangerous stretch of the Pacific, which was great for riding waves. Your paddle is tethered to the boat like a surfboard is to your ankle. So if you wipe out it doesn't get lost. You just hang onto the paddle. Well, I'm coming into a wave. The kayak flips and the wave makes it smack into my head as I hit the water. The paddle tether wraps around my neck and I get dragged to shore by the noose and buyout boat. I never surfed with a kayak again. A board is a lot safer. Weed. A friend's elder sibling offered and I had heard it would help with my intense anxiety. I'm still trying to get better every day. And so I accepted since I probably would never get the chance again. I found out that day that I react very badly to sativa mixes. When I was 4 years old, my mom made ice candy. One of the candies may have leaked cause I found some drippings on the freezer bed. For the lack of a better description, there weren't any ice candies left, so I licked the drippings. Which, yes, lead to my tongue being stuck to the freezer. I don't know how long I was stuck there cause I couldn't scream or move without feeling pain from my tongue. But my grandpa eventually found me and forcibly pulled me out of the fridge. There was a lot of blood. Got rushed to the ED. My 4 years old self, though I am never doing that ever again. I have a 20-month-old going through molars and I can honestly say that I will not have another child. Believe someone when they say they'll help you move. Had so many times I've helped people move and they were very thankful and said to let them know if you ever need help. Then when I do, poof, they're busy, don't show up, or just don't answer. Dating someone who is outspoken about their political beliefs. Your political belief is like a big dick. It's great that you have it. It's alright to be proud of it. And when someone wants to know about it you can even brag a little bit. But maybe don't whip it out at the restaurant during dinner. Freighter job in the Bering Sea in January. Anal. Nuff said. Scene. College. Frat party. I smuggled in the bottle of gold skludger my brother slipped in with my trunk. Had many shots. Blacked out while walking around campus. Friends found me talking to a tree in sign language. They dragged me up to the dorms and I started crying in the elevator. Nothing really bad happened. Except excessive vomiting. Now I won't even chew big red gum. I came out as gay about 2 years ago. Through some weird things last summer I dated a woman. Never again. The last time I woke up in the hospital from drinking. I still drink but I'm not chugging high percentage beers on the streets again anytime soon. Waking up hospitalized twice in 3 months feels fucking shitty. If you drink, stay inside and around people that won't let you kill yourself. I tried to wax my own armpits. I've been doing my own eyebrows for years and have had other parts professionally done with no major issues, so I figured, hey, I know what this feels like. I can make it happen. And then I don't have to shave for 2 weeks. Cool. So I applied the wax and the cloth strip you used to rip it off. But when I went to rip it off, I couldn't. I don't know if it was the angle of my arm or the size of the patch, but that shit was stuck on there like super glue. I ended up having to call my partner at the time in from the other room to do it for me. I shrieked so loud our neighbors came knocking on the door to make sure no one was actively being murdered. Only to find me doubled over in the bathroom with one arm in the air bleeding from the armpit and my partner on the floor in the entryway howling with laughter. Lesson learned. Have you met my former friend Tikiala? Another post reminded me. I snorted pop rocks. You could hear my sinuses popping. Spoiler alert. It effing hurt. Going to see Plymouth Rock. It's a fucking rock. Washing my balls with hand sanitizer. Grabbed an electric fence. Hurt like shit. Went to climb under it. Scraped off my back. Decided to never go off course when hiking again. If you want to get nothing in return, you can like and join my Discord. There is a link in the description.